The 2015 Telstra New South Wales Businesswoman's for Purpose and Social Enterprise Award winner is Libby Davies.
Tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night.
I did prepare a speech, but I think I'm just going to forget about that. It's an amazing honour to stand up here amongst incredible people, but also to represent a movement in Australia that is so far ahead in the way in which has garnered the support of the community to mitigate one of the most insidious issues that we face in our community, and that is violence against women. White Ribbon is a very proud organisation, and I do remember the day someone tapped me on the shoulder. I had spent 5 years recovering from very serious cancer, and someone said to me, "Libby, there's this job. I think it's got your name all over it." And I had a little bit of a research into the organisation, the movement, and I did know when it first came to Australia because I was working in the family services area, and remember when White Ribbon invested itself into the Australian community as a way of engaging men in what had always been a very feminist issue. And I thought, wow, this is an amazing model. Because I remember my years at university and all the feminist meetings that we had, there wasn't one bloke in the room. And yet all we did was whinge about the men. But we weren't changing the men. We weren't working with them to change attitudes and behaviours that had become normalised, that had become entrenched, and which had delivered a very sexist, unequal community and society. And so a model that was about working with men, speaking with men, and getting men to work and speak with other men to change ingrained behaviours and constructs of what it is to be a man, and deconstruct that and reconstruct it in a way that creates absolute equality of opportunity. I thought, hallelujah, that's amazing. And so I felt very privileged to be tapped on the shoulder. I remember going down to Canberra for the interview, a very harrowing interview. Walked out of the room and thought, oh God, I've blown that. Got to the Sydney airport, my phone rings, as I'm disembarking off the plane, "Libby, you've got the job." And I remember sitting down on one of those little benches thinking, oh my goodness, what have I got myself into? 5 years on, it's an amazing organisation, it's an amazing movement. I've got wonderful members of the board here with me tonight, some of my amazing staff team. And today is very serendipitous because we launch the beginning of our White Ribbon campaign for 2015, and that is a new oath that we're asking men to take, a very active oath, moving on from what we have had in the past. And the oath is to stand up, speak out, and act to prevent men's violence against women. We hope you will join with us as we move into White Ribbon Month in November as a whole community, because White Ribbon is community-driven, community-owned, and it is about empowering the community, and particularly our men in it, to influence the actions of some men to stop this insidious curse. So thank you for the honour of standing here today, of being part of a wonderful movement and being in this room with the most amazing women and men. Thank you.